it's Joy, and today I'm watching Alpha's Season 2, Episode 8? Not an episode 8 yet, episode 6, Alphaville. And I'm guessing that might be where Skylar is, because I know she left to go and live somewhere where it would be safe for her daughter, and now we're going to go and try and find her. She was in the previously, so fingers crossed we're going to see Summer Glau again. Thank you so much, Jessie, for sponsoring this show. Let's go.
I hate to think what'll happen if I can't figure out what it does.
If we can't figure out. Is this place too intense? Can she not turn it off? Because I feel like sometimes she tunes in more, but she just can't turn it off all the time, can she? Oh, Lord.
You know, I checked. Look, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No,
No, John, I'm sorry. I'm trying, okay? And we'll get there.
Slow is good.
Nina's going.
Yeah, look, nothing's gonna happen, okay? Just trust me.
You I'm worried about.
Given that she hypothetically could push him, I suppose, but I hate this because hang up the phone before you say anything. I don't like this. Let's keep it Skylar in danger.
The feds, get the hell out of here.
Right, Alpha Feds, actually.
Oh, all right.
I could have called that one.
He's an alpha. I'll find out. Hey. He opens doors.
He opens doors. Ooh. There she is.
hello, Skylar.
I love Summer Glau.
Skylar.
Go home.
They're hiding here to try and be safe. So stressed now.
I took a tremendous risk helping you elude the NSA. I did not have to do that.
Really? You're playing that card?
Yeah, because you promise you'll always help them, and then you just use them for their abilities. I don't blame her for being
This is where you
wary.
Dangerous.
More dangerous than an air cannon.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Gary.
It exaggerates alpha abilities. This is the worst possible place to have it.
Only being oh, these.
Mhm.
Oh no, I don't like these, Bill. They have evil intent.
Wait.
They do have evil intent.
Gary.
Yeah.
It is amazing, the idea of a place where everyone gets to be an alpha. But Gary wouldn't fit in here because he couldn't use his ability.
I need to talk to you. I've got some questions about security arrangements around here.
We all get along pretty well. We've never had any incidents.
External
I always
instance.
want to prepare for the worst. And
It's your fault that there's no signals here.
Gary can read electromagnetic communication, so he gets a little cranky. Dead zones like this.
Bill, I'm not cranky.
You're very cranky in this. Nothing wrong with being cranky. He is also cranky.
Exactly dead around.
Cranky
Nature
friends.
is crawling with
Yeah,
sickness
but
if you listen to them.
Garrett, how would you feel if you ended up in a virtual environment or in like an enclosed concrete room that was full of signals and Gary was having the time of his life? You need to be understanding of other people.
Excuse me.
This place is too good to be true.
Amazing.
Especially given the way Skylar was like, no, they're not my friends.
I guess I'll be seeing you at dinner.
He does not like outsiders, especially not alpha outsiders.
Stunt you pulled letting the world know about alphas. Didn't have any friends here.
Dinner, come on. Mommy, let's go. Dinner.
He's trying to protect alphas
No, I'd prefer to keep
from...
Wow. Should see a shrink about those trust issues.
He should, but he has got cause.
Hey, where you going? What are you doing?
He made alphas...
Bill, I don't have my.
He told the world about alphas so that they'd be protected.
Where my mouth goes.
We have to be on the lookout for any outside
Oh,
communication.
Lord.
Anybody
Bill, I
trying
told
to-
you there are no signals. Bill. Oh.
What do you-
Can he read the stars or something?
Okay, we're not here to look for damn stars.
No, it's good. Some stars they send out radio waves. I know that.
Gary,
It's a pulsar.
Gary, you're killing me right now. You know this, right?
It's pingy. Ooh.
Gary. Gary.
And it's like curtains. But
It wouldn't make sense for him to only be able to read human-made signals, but just they cover up the other signals he can read.
The whole sky.
Oh, Lord. Okay, creepy, silent, knife-twirling man. What's your business?
Gary, hey.
You have fun running around silently.
Could have killed them both.
And of course.
Don't sneak up on me.
We only
they figure out what it does.
This has exposed this whole colony of alphas that they didn't already know about it, though.
As a signal.
It wouldn't make sense for his ability to be only human devices. I love this.
So what, you can't be yourself and her mom all at the same time?
You
Well,
could
right now I'm
be.
kind of sucking at both.
I think if she saw you being more alpha-y, then maybe she. I don't know. I feel like being true to yourself will help her be true to herself.
Yeah, but I ruined it. And
You got to do the work to
now
make
I'm
their
gonna
trust
just
back.
feel alone.
You made this.
These do all the work.
Mhm.
It's human nature to exploit the special abilities of other creatures.
I kind of agree.
But it could also be perceived as two groups working.
Dr. Rosen has spent his entire career fighting against exactly that kind of intolerance. No,
His career. This is our lives, I'm talking.
I know, and I do think that there are
We do not
issues with
want
how
to
Dr.
be
Rosen treats
You're not one of us.
alphas.
You never will be. You're just an outsider looking in.
Yes,
But
I
at the
know.
same time,
I am an outsider.
whenever someone is like, oh, you know, if someone is genuinely trying to help, I do think Dr. Rosen needs to take a step back and, like, as within any debate, I can try my best to be an ally to people of colour or people who are LGBT, and, you know, within my own platform, sort of try to speak up with what I'm informed about, but I would never try and take the stage over somebody that is actually experiencing that life. And I think sometimes Dr. Rosen does get in his own head that he knows everything and he is the only person or that he has so much information and he knows best, and if they would just do what he wanted, everything would be fine. And I don't like the way he does some aspects of being on the team. Particularly it was the way Cameron was recruited. And again, I think if Dr. Rosen had just been like, look, I'm sorry that this is the situation, I would have wanted to recruit you either way, but it's prison or come with me, I would have been more okay with it. But he fully was just like, prison or me. And there are some things that niggle with me with Dr. Rosen. I think are quite realistic things that characters in his position would get. But you can't ignore his ultimate intentions as well. The truth is in between the two of them.
If you knew that your bee colonies were going to collapse, no matter where you hide them, what would you do? Wouldn't you try to stop it?
I think you just have very different opinions on how to stop things. Why are you wandering around alone? What use is carrying the device with you?
I can kill more than cars.
What do you know about this?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, he knows something?
Solve things with violence around here.
Well, who started the fucking
Then
violence?
perhaps you should tell your man about that.
My life fell apart because of you. My wife left me. And she
Jesus.
took my kids. All because of you and your big
Well,
mouth.
your kids are most likely alphas too.
Just let me explain.
Gower. Go home.
He doesn't want Rosen to get through to these people or to tell them the other side of the story. He likes them just knowing his side. Is that it? Guys, can we pull together?
did you see
Ooh.
that?
Claude wanted us out of here first thing this morning.
Lucky you.
Ooh.
You know, you and Zoe can come with us. So much easier when I was alone.
Oh no.
Zoe.
Oh, it's hard when you're struggling.
Freaking year.
It's got its own internal power source. Maybe if I reconnect.
Oh my god. Everything is going to hell. Her powers are now supercharged. Please don't say Bill's going to run in and it's going to go off again, pointing at the door.
I want to get a cabin, but I want
Oh.
one with carpet. Everything here is made of wood, and I like
He wants to live
solid,
here.
squishy beneath my toes.
Oh my god. Kids are too little to understand the nuances of things. Like, things may have been easier when she was alone, but they weren't better. Jesus Christ, Sneaky McSneakerson, stop it. Do they want to kill her because she knows about the machine and she could figure it out? Oh Lord. I would want to see physical proof that they had my daughter, that she hadn't just dropped that in the woods somewhere. I would want to see my little girl, make sure they had her for sure.
90,000 volts, that's how it's gonna work. Where is she?
Jesus!
It's here. We were safe.
Oh god.
Come on, I'm taking that bag.
Oh my god, he's gonna exaggerate his abilities. Or does it just give every alpha a seizure now?
Why did you do that? How?
I promise we have to get out of here. Go! Go!
Jesus!
We have to get to the van. Skylar, wait. It's too dangerous.
No.
She'll be fine.
It's my daughter.
She's going. You'd go if it was yours. Don't scream though, because we might want the element of surprise. Please don't say it supercharges abilities. When it comes to this dude. Going forward, he does not need supercharged abilities. Or there's the whole summer... I know that they're in the woods, but it could catch and get all the way to the summer camp. This is going really badly. Mr. Sneaky Sneak. Behind you!
Run, Zoe!
Come here. Stop.
This is a high stakes moment for Cameron's powers to potentially do the downside. What are her abilities? Is it like strength or fighting?
Remember this.
He will remember that. Oh.
Now!
Mr. Fireface is coming.
You should have played nice.
Zoe, stay with this, okay?
Maybe get up higher though. You could put Zoe somewhere high. Oh yes, yes.
I can fix this.
This is what Zoe needs to see. You being an alpha too.
Done enough.
We were just trying to find Skylar for some help. This would have happened eventually anyway, in some way or another.
That work?
Do you know my mommy?
Oh, she loves her mommy.
Got her!
She left.
We got out. Get out of here.
Is she gonna? Are they? She's just. There's gonna be no sign of her when they get out. Just gone, or is Mr. Fireface gonna be there? I'm scared for them.
This part needs to be read. Thank you.
They rule everywhere.
I knew it.
I'm bringing you an offer.
Oh, but if it's what's best for Zoe, she might.
That she can thrive in. That's to you.
She'd hear him out, I think. You can't always trust Dr. Rosen. You need to get every side of the story. And he's good at manipulating.
I would have brought you flowers, but I know the smell would bother you, so.
That's sweet.
You get me. You really do.
Don't be a secret jerk. Is it going to actually in some weird way help her be more in tune with them and not feel overwhelmed so much?
It's not your fault.
Yeah. No, I know.
It's her fault because she told
That's right. I just might get medical leave.
Stanton Paris where they were, and that's how he got injured. Danny, you're playing a dangerous game, a fine line.
Someone close to us is working with Parrish.
Your daughter.
All I want you to is just between you and me.
He trusts you, that is a big deal.
Find him.
It's your daughter. Oh Lord Almighty. Right, so find him. It'd be so sexist building. I know. I'm sorry. Rosa. No, just an expression. I don't know. Like, are they going to vet their team, or is he, as much as he doesn't want the team to know, is it kind of just Bill is safe and everyone else needs to be vetted because it's still so dangerous. Obviously, because it's Danny that's behind it. Is he even going to consider Danny? I mean, sure, like, she didn't know where they were going, but she knew enough to tell them they're on the move, and then therefore they were followed there, I presume. You know, think about it. Who knew they were going somewhere? Old tactical dude? We should look into him. I mean, I hope it's not him. I mean, I don't think he's linked to Stanton Parish, unless there's something we don't know. And then Danny, because you heard Cameron say, just going to see a guy about a thing. and then potentially of course Clay's office. It's a horrible game when you have to start looking at your own people and start thinking it through. I feel like if he didn't mean the main team when he said that everyone, when everyone else comes back clean from any association with Stat in Paris, they're going to have to start looking in, and that's when things are going to get really, really hairy. Now the idea of a place for alphas where they are safe and they could just be themselves, I do really like. I think I would hate it in the sense that I would hate living that much in nature. I would hate not having my amenities and my amenities, or how do you even say that word? I literally, the other day, my Canadian friend and I were talking and that word came up and I genuinely now have forgotten how I say it as an English person. But living like without the internet and without TV and without all these, like, I couldn't do it personally. The idea of a summer camp, the one time I had to go on Year 9 camp for like 3 days, it was miserable. But I like the idea of it, of getting away from all the stress and the pressures, but you're always vulnerable, and the danger with isolating yourself in this way. Dr. Rosen was right. Now, the minute we arrived, I knew that Dr. Rosen was going to be proved right in every point he made, because that's how these shows work. All the shows work. You go somewhere, the people you meet are like, you're wrong, and then you get proved right by the end of the episode. I do still think that the Alpha Claude had some points that were true. I think Dr. Rosen does use powered people. You know, he came all this way just to use Skylar's ability, even though it then put them all in danger. But I think there are moments where the stakes are high enough that it makes sense. Also, he didn't know how or where Skylar was living, and they thought they'd done everything they could to not be tracked. But it is true that across the series we have seen Dr. Rosen in his quest to ultimately make things better for alphas. I don't think his ultimate quest is for his own personal gain or glory or anything like that. I do think he wants to make the world a safer and better place for alphas, but he's willing to use some of them along the way, and I don't think I don't think that's a conscious thing. I think he doesn't see himself doing that, but there have been instances where he has done that, and it is dangerous because that's when you're going to start getting people turning against you. But again, for Claude and his little group of alphas, isolating yourself in the middle of nowhere means that if you get into trouble, there is no one to help you, and it also means that you don't have a say in the decisions that are being made. You don't get your voice heard. What the reason Dr. Rosen made his big statement, which I could have sworn at the end of season 1 that the whole team were like, yes, good luck, and like Gary had set the thing up so it would live stream and that they were all in on it, and then at the start of this season they were all like, how could you? So I'm kind of confused on that front, but I don't know if maybe that was in between seasons they kind of revamped what that scene actually meant where he left. But the reason he told everyone about alphas wasn't for fame or glory or anything. It was so that they would become protected citizens, because if no one knows about them, then they can keep having their civil rights abused because they don't have any civil rights. The minute you identify another group that is not covered under any Civil Rights Act or that is being abused systematically by the government, that is when you can then protect them, because everyone knows they're there and so laws can be put into place. And yes, that's going to be a messy process, but it's the alternative. I don't even know, because I don't think isolating yourself from the rest of the world for forever is a viable alternative. Now maybe it is if you're a hippy dippy bee man, but there are other people who aren't going to be like that. And yes, I think I love the way Gary was able to find a whole new side to his ability, that because he lived in such a electronic man-made world, he'd never really considered all the rest of it. I think that will help him get a much firmer understanding of his ability and his capabilities, because it never fully made sense to me that he could only get man-made technology, because like biologically would that evolve? But if it's all signals and just the strongest ones when you're in like a city centre are man-made ones, that makes so much more sense. But living in the middle of nowhere off the grid isn't going to do anything for you in the long run. I'm so happy for Gary that he's found this whole other side of his abilities, and I wonder how that's going to affect him when he goes back to the real world, and the fact that he wanted to stay, he was getting a cabin. I know it's very Gary. I think if he had got the cabin and if they'd said, okay Gary, have a nice life, bye, and left, I think he might have been like, after a little bit, he would have been like, but I want things how I want them. Like, I want my brand of toothpaste. Where's my brand of toothpaste? They're like, I need to find my mum at 8 o'clock. I can't do that. I think there would have been things that he wouldn't have been happy in the long run. But you can see why a place like that really does appeal to people. If anything, I feel like Gary maybe needs to practice seeing if he can tune out the man-made signals to just get to the natural ones, or start going off into nature to explore it more. But I think it's interesting. I really thought Nina was going to be the one that was tempted, and while she kind of was jokingly, and then she was like, oh yeah, I'm alone on the team all the time, she never really made any attempts to stay. I know that then everything went wrong, but like, she just kind of said it more glibly. It wasn't like she was the one that sincerely wanted to stay. I think if anything with Nina, she just needs to do the work to prove she's sorry, to prove that it's a part of her that sometimes she loses control to, but she's determined to not let that happen again, and to prove how much she cares about them. I am stressed for Cameron and Dr. Rosa when it comes to Danny. I think it was interesting, Danny was actually upset and actually guilty over the fact that Cameron got seriously hurt and could have died because she gave information to somebody else, because she is lying to him. I think for the most part she tries to she truly does care about Cameron. We saw that when, you know, Stanton told them to break up and then she was like, but I want to be with him. And for the most part, I think she's able to convince herself that, well, what he wants is what's best for Cameron, and what he wants is ultimately what my dad wants too. They just don't see that. So I'm not really hurting them or lying to them because I'm doing it for their own good in the long run. But the more incidents like this happen, the more it's going to be far more stark for her that she's actually making a choice, and that is putting one thing in danger. I hate Stanton Paris. He's a master manipulator. He has had a long time to develop his master manipulatory skills. I worry that Skylar's going to go with him, in part because I think she's understandably distrustful of the government after everything that's happened. And on paper, what he's promising sounds great. A world for alphas where you don't have to worry, but your daughter can grow up and flourish and never be afraid. But his methods, what he wants to do to get there, what he's willing to sacrifice in the long run is not worth it. I love this team. Rachel, it's like her abilities are different now. They've kind of awakened in a way they hadn't before. But is that ultimately going to mean that, like, could it be that sort of to an extent she's always held herself back from letting them fully overtake her because they are overwhelming and because they make her different and because she's like, oh, I'd hate smelling all these weird smells and seeing everything too much. Whereas now, because it was forced into overtaking her whole system, she didn't have any way to hold it back. Is it now going to mean that she's much freer with her abilities in the sense of they are a part of her and she accepts them? Because if that's the case, very happy she accidentally got zapped in the face. This episode was a lot. Skylar and her daughter, I just want them to be okay. I just want them to be happy. You know, I think it's awful for any child to hear a mother say that, and Skylar will regret having said those words for the rest of her life. But I don't, what she meant by, it was so much easier when I was alone. What, and I wish I could leave. Wasn't, and I wish I didn't have a daughter. It was just sometimes it's really hard. And just when all I had to worry about was myself, it was easier. And of course it was easier. Anything is easier when you don't have the other things, but that doesn't mean she would ever regret having a daughter or ever wish she didn't, because if that was the case, she would say, well, I found her a place full of alphas and I will leave. So if that had happened when Skylar and her daughter were adults, I think she would be more able to understand it all. But ultimately, they love each other. She knows her mum's amazing, and they're going to be okay as long as they don't get too mixed up with Stanton Parish. And then I'm scared, like, is she going to work with him, but then realise that it goes too far against her morals and then be in danger? Like, it's just hell. I'm just stressed. This was a really good episode. I'm very sorry if I've missed something. But thank you so much, Jessie, for sponsoring, and thank you for watching.